Good afternoon and welcome to the Voice of the People TV. I am Promise. We'll begin with the headlines. World leaders congratulate Donald Trump of the Republican Party as he claims a surprising victory in the U.S. presidential polls. The House of Representatives investigates 3 ministers over the utilization of $2 billion in renewable energy funds. President Tinubu announces the passing of Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, Chief of Army Staff, at age 56. A large crowd of activists demonstrates in Abuja, demands total reforms in Nigeria's oil sector. And in business, Nigerians pays of 4.05 trillion naira personal loans in the first and second quarters of 2024, as reported by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. And now, the news in full. World leaders quickly congratulate Donald Trump as he claimed a surprising victory in the U.S. presidential election over Kamala Harris. Former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called it a historic moment, marking a renewable chapter and a new chapter in the U.S.-Israel relations, while French President Emmanuel Macron and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also extended congratulations. Chinese officials expressed hope for peaceful coexistence with the U.S., reflecting cautious optimism. Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky expressed his desire for a new administration to help bring just peace closer to Ukraine, and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer welcomed the outcome, signaling strong European engagement with Trump's return. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan joined the global leaders offering congratulations, adding further support from NATO allies. While financial markets reacted swiftly with the US dollar surging, Bitcoin reaching record highs, and European stocks rallying, Trump promised to make the US a global hub to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, appointing Elon Musk to lead a comprehensive audit of government waste, which is expected to signal a shift in the U.S. economic policy. And away from the U.S. now, back to Nigeria, the House of Representatives will investigate the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, Science and Technology Minister Uche Nnaji, and Budget and Economic Planning Minister Atiku Bagudu over the utilization of $2 billion in a renewable energy funds. The ministers are expected to appear before the House Committee on Renewable Energy, chaired by Afam Ogene, on Wednesday. The probe focuses on the allocation of funds and grants for developing renewable energy sources in Nigeria from 2015 to date, amid concerns that despite significant investments, the nation's power supply continues to deteriorate. During the hearing on Tuesday, none of the ministers attended, sending representatives. Instead, most of these representatives were dismissed and told to return to their offices. Committee Chairman Ogene expressed disappointment and insisted that the ministers must appear before the committee on Wednesday, emphasizing the National Assembly's constitutional authority to summon public officials for investigation. Moving on, President Bola Tinubu has announced the passing of Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Abiodun Lagbaja. The 56-year-old officer died in Lagos on Tuesday night after a period of illness. In a statement issued by the President's advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the President, Tinubu, expressed deep condolences to the family and the Nigeria's armed forces. Lieutenant General Lagbaja, born in February 28, 1968, joined the Nigerian Defense Academy in 1987 and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Infantry Corps in 1992. He served in multiple key roles, including as platform commander in the 93 Battalion and 72 Special Forces Battalion. He led various internal security operatives and operations, such as Operation Zaki in Benue, Lafia Dole in Borno, and Operation Forest Sanity in Kaduna and Niger State. His distinguished career also saw him earn a master's in strategy studies from the U.S. Army War College, reflecting his commitment to military excellence. The president honored Lieutenant General Lagbaja's contributions to national security and peace, calling for external rest to the late general. He is survived by his wife, Maria, and their 2 children. Meanwhile, President Tinubu has promoted the acting Chief of Army Staff, Major General Olufemi Oluyede, to mark the rank of Lieutenant General. The decoration ceremony took place at the State House in Abuja. Major General Oluyede was appointed as acting Chief of Army Staff on October 30th, 2024, following the reported illness of the substantive Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja. During the ceremony, President Tinubu commended the military for its unwavering courage, dedication, and patriotism in securing the nation. He recognized Oluyede's exemplary record in the military, stating that the promotion was a reflection of his commitment to national security. The president assured the armed forces of continued support from the government and emphasized the importance of synergy within the military to maintain the country's stability. He highlighted the progress made in addressing terrorism and banditry, urging the service chiefs to sustain the collaboration for the nation's prosperity. And now moving on to the power sector, where Nigeria has experienced widespread power outages on Tuesday due to another collapse of the national power grid. This marks the 10th grid collapse since January 2024, with 3 incidents occurring in just 1 week in October. The latest collapse occurred around 1:50 p.m., causing power generation to drop from 2,711 megawatts at 1 p.m. to 0 between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. Prior to the collapse, power generation have peaked at 3,934 megawatts earlier in the morning. The incident affected 22 power plants connected to the grid. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, confirmed the partial grid disturbance, attributing it to a series of line and generation trips that destabilized the system. TCN spokesperson Ndidi Mba assured the public that energies were working to restore power. The bulk supply already restored to Abuja by 2:49 p.m. Efforts to restore electricity to other affected regions are ongoing. The outage affected both northern and southern part of the country. Ikeja Electricity, one of the major power distributions in Lagos, also confirmed the outages and announced ongoing efforts to restore power in collaboration with stakeholders. And now talking protests. In a move to address growing public concern, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ugbetokun, has ordered an immediate investigation into the alleged mistreatment of minors arrested during the last week's End Bad Governance protests. The following reports that 76 suspects, including several malnourished minors, were arraigned in court last Friday, with 6 of the minors reportedly collapsing during the proceedings due to poor health. BOP-TV's Oyindamola Olukuto has the rest of the report. All right, moving on, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has urged minors recently released from the detention following last August's protest to embrace positive change and build responsible futures. Speaking at the State House auditorium in Abuja, Shettima emphasized that President Bola Tinubu's decision to release the minors on humanitarian grounds, despite evidence of further involvement in the unrest, offers them an opportunity for personal reforms. Shettima advised the youth to avoid engaging in the violence of damaging public and private properties, noting that the protests led to an economic loss of over 300 billion naira, highlighted the president's role as a father figure, granting the minors another chance to contribute positively to the nation. POPTV's Oyindamola Olukoto brings you rest of this report.
Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has ordered a thorough investigation into allegation of mistreatment involving minors arrested during the recent End Bad Governance protest. The move comes after reports of 76 suspects, including several malnourished minors, being arraigned last Friday. Six of the minors reportedly collapsed during the proceeding and were rushed out of the courtroom for medical attention. In response to public outrage over the incident, IGP Egbetokun initially claimed that the fainting was staged to attract negative attention. He assured the public that the medical assistance was swiftly provided and emphasized the police commitment to the welfare of all individuals in custody. However, following the widespread backlash, President Bola Tinubu intervened, directing that the charges against the minors be withdrawn on Monday. Force spokesperson Muyiwa Adejobi announced that Egbetokun has instructed an investigation into the welfare of the minors while in police detention. The IGP, currently attending international meetings in Algeria and Glasgow, pledged to act on the findings of the investigation and address any identified lapses. As part of efforts to improve police handling of young detainees, the IGP has also scheduled a conference on child-friendly investigation method for senior officers on November 7, 2024. As Voice of the People TV, we are on the streets of Lagos to bring you the opinion of citizens regarding the situation.
Concerning to those children that government patriate the end government should please assist them by releasing them. They are our tomorrow. Those are children. They are kids. They don't know what they are doing, although they know what they are doing, because everything affects both mother and children, because they are even pitying themselves by coming outside protesting because they want everything to come down. Not that they did not love the government. We all love the government, but government should please to help us to release those children.
Why should police arrest minors? What were the parents of these children doing? And now, what is the law? What have they done about it so far? All in all, I feel it's a very bad thing. You're telling me someone held my children hostage for 2 months, and upon release, they fainted? Sorry, you are coming to the investigation? I think it's odd. It's bad. It's so sad that all of this is happening in our country.
If you are not up to 18 years, nobody will have time to put you to jail, no matter the sin or whatever you committed. So we don't have any option than to abide to what they are doing or praying with, because it's only God that will deliver us.
Okay. It is wrong to arrest minors. We saw them. They showed them on DSTV. Very young people, they are to be cared for, they are to be directed. And government has ordered for immediate release and all this fight for the public.
As the investigation into the alleged mistreatment of minors in police custody unfolds, the public remains deeply concerned about the treatment of vulnerable individuals in the justice system. With President Tinubu's intervention and the IGP's promise to address the matter, many are hopeful that justice will prevail and necessary reform will be implemented to protect children from such injustice in the future. Oyindamola Olukoto for Voice of the People TV.
All right, thank you, Oyindamola Olukoto, for that report. Still talking protests, a large crowd of activists flooded Abuja's three-arm zone, calling for a major reforms in the oil sector. Organized by the APC Solidarity and Development Forum and involving youth and civil society groups, the protesters voiced their frustrations over soaring food prices, persistent fuel scarcity, and worsening economic hardship. Protest leaders Kabiru Matazu and Daniel C. Momo addressed the press near the National Assembly complex, criticizing the ongoing fuel crisis as a reflection of synthetic and systematic failures. They submitted a letter to Senate President Godswill Akpabio and House Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, arguing that despite repeated assurances, shortages and high prices persist, eroding public trust in government management, highlighting the absence of operational local refineries despite a $4 billion investment. The protesters called for greater accountability and a clear plan to revitalize the sector. They also raised concern about unresolved corruption and demanded the National Assembly's implement measures to prevent the importation of substandard petroleum products and establish an investigative committee to address alleged misconduct. The activists called for decisive actions to ensure the oil industry operates efficiently, supporting Nigeria's economic welfare and restoring public confidence. All right, joining us to analyze these stories is Barrister Darlington Agomo, VOPTV's in-house analyst and, of course, a legal practitioner. Good afternoon, Barrister Darlington.
Bro, Miss Child, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good to have you in the studio today.
It's my pleasure.
So let's start off with the US before we come back down to Nigeria. Trump is leading. I think he's 4 electoral votes away from clinching the presidential seat. He's obviously ahead of Kamala Harris. What's your take on the US election? And who were you projecting, by the way?
Yeah, before now, I knew that Americans, in fact, I have done the analysis here before that if Trump is not in jail as of today, that means Americans want him.
Really?
It's as simple, yes. This is somebody who should have been in jail, but for one reason or the other, he's still campaigning. He's still talking tough. He's still threatening that he will even deport Joe Biden and...
deport Joe Biden?
And yes, and the Kamala Harris.
And he's also leading.
Yes, so when he's saying all this type of thing and Americans are clapping for him, that means they need somebody like him. That is it. Over the years, remember, if you look at American history, their presidential elections, it was the weakness of, what was that his name? Oh, the farmer that brought in Ronald Reagan. As at that time, the man was not too strong enough to project the American interests, you know. And for that reason, they decided that a cowboy would do the job, and that was Ronald Reagan. And immediately he came, he created the Star Wars that shook the whole world. In fact, the Soviet Union, as at that time, was afraid because of the awesome military arsenal that Ronald Reagan was building. And that brought stability, and then Americans' profile rose to the highest height under Ronald Reagan. You know, so over the years, you always look for a president who will make America proud, who will keep America on top there, who will do the business of America.
So with Biden's administration, with the whole Israel-Hamas war, on the other side, you have the Russia-Ukraine war and the whole instability. Of course, it's leading to economic instability and crisis around the world. It's affecting the whole world, whether we like it or not. Do you think Biden handled that very well?
He didn't. Seriously, he didn't. A strong U.S. president would have stopped Putin from invading Ukraine. A strong U.S. president wouldn't have allowed it. I'm telling you, he wouldn't.
But Putin is saying he's looking forward right now. He just made a statement a few minutes ago. He's saying he's looking forward to, renegotiating with Trump.
Yes.
You know, there used to be this existing relationship between him and Trump.
Exactly, yeah.
So you think the Russia-Ukraine war is going to come to an end?
Of course. Because this guy, Donald Trump has a substantial interest in Russia. In fact, he has he abused so much estate in the Russian enclave. He made most of his money from, estates he built in Russia. So he has been a business ally of the Russian government. I'm sure with that, they can do business. But I know when it comes to American interests, Trump will draw the line because he's not apologetical about the American interests. He's not.
Quickly, before we jump to Nigeria stories. Sorry to cut you short there. Before we let's get one more take on the American story before we jump in. According to President Trump, he's saying that his presidency will be the golden age for America right now. And a lot of people are saying that this is the greatest political comeback in the history of America. Do you think it's so?
Yeah, it looks like, because the American people, if you look at the votes, they voted for him overwhelmingly. They are not all those is head to head, is tight whatever. No, the election that the votes have decided that Trump has been generally accepted by the Americans. So there's no longer any doubt that Americans want him because of his what? His own agenda for America. It's all about what are you coming to do. You know that Trump, look, one thing I like about the man is that he is not apologetical about what he wants and what he wants to do. He said he's coming to do something, and he meant it, without even thinking whether it will cost him his vote or not. And so people trusted this man who wants to do what he's saying. Unlike Biden, who has been very weak, I don't even know where Biden policy is stating to us. You know, he was a very weak president. Seriously, he was, and that's what America didn't like.
And you think that's what also affected Kamala Harris, also being his, vice president.
In fact, Donald Trump defeated the two American contestants. That is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Yes.
After Joe Biden steps down for Kamala.
Yeah.
So now talking about Kamala Harris, Barrister Darlington, you know that opinion polls, all the opinion polls from CNN to Fox to ABC to a whole lot of them, Kamala was leading before this election. You understand? So let's bring it back now home to Nigeria. During the 2023 presidential election, where you see on social media, Obi was actually leading, and the result was announced. The election day, President Tinubu won. Just supposing it, what's your take?
The take is that most times, what the press are saying, not what the people are saying. And what the people are saying may not be what the courts are saying. That is the difference here.
When you say court, you're bringing it back to Nigeria.
Yes, now. Yes, Nigerian issue, yes. In fact, the comparison is out of the question because Donald Trump won outright. In Nigeria, of course, the prediction by the press and the people was right concerning Obi. It's just that
electoral apathy and all that. Was that part of the problem in Nigeria?
If things had been free and fair, if the votes were counted, then we can now begin to talk who won and who lost. There's no comparison here.
So you're saying America has more credible electoral process than Nigeria?
Exactly. What happened in Nigeria was not an election. Even the people that won, they know they didn't win. They know. In the heart of their heart, they know the truth. They know. So there's no need of comparing. In fact, in the first place, the people that contested against Obi and they shouldn't have contested that election if they were in America, because of all the baggages that were revealed,
So, Barrister Darlington, now you mentioned baggages in America and all of that. What do you think would be President Tinubu's relationship with Trump? We know the Chicago story and all of that. How do you think that's going to pan out now? Quickly, in 30 seconds before we move down to Nigeria.
When Donald Trump came there the first time, he never saw you as a human being, the whole of Africa. He was using the S word against the whole of Africa. And when he's...
But Africans are madly supporting him, Barrister Darlington. A lot of Africans supported him.
Because there is something they want him to do, especially what's going on in the Middle East.
The war.
They know his stand. Even when he's the chief of staff, Tillerson, was told to stop his tour of Africa in Kenya. The man, for reason best known to him, maybe he drank a lot of wine in Kenya, and then he now sauntered into Nigeria. For doing that alone, Donald Trump will sack him when he was on air, coming back to America. He sacked him on air. So the man is a no-nonsense guy, I'm telling you. So if he did not pay attention to you in the first, is it this time around? He won't. He will not, because he has seen what is going on here. Besides, whom is he going to talk to? Who?
What do you mean by whom?
Whom is he going to talk to in Nigeria? Is that what?
We'll have a president.
Let him visit him now. Let him go and congratulate him, and let's see the reception he will get. Please go to the next this thing, Jari.
All right. So let's move on now to Nigeria, where the House of Representatives has, is investigating 3 ministers who have the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, who have for Science and Technology, Uchenna and Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, over the utilization of $2 billion in renewable energy. Barrister was saying we are going bankrupt. Where are this money coming from? Was saying we are going bankrupt or talking about corruption.
If that money
the
was
ministries and MDAs.
good, and the same ministries and MDAs are telling you that 12 of them could not be paid because there's no money.
Yes, a lot have not been paid.
Good.
Example is Ministry of Information that I know of.
Good. Now, this thing you mentioned now, if that money was properly used, my dear, will anybody be investigating
$2 billion. That's a lot of money.
Will anybody be investigating it? Look, the mistake anybody made was to tell this National Assembly to investigate any matter. It means that they don't want to get any result. Whenever
the ministers fail to appear before the National Assembly,
why would
they sent representatives.
Why wouldn't they? Because the National Assembly is a lame dog. They can't do anything. They can't bite. They can't even back. That's it. What would they do? Is it the first time? Because the people that want to investigate, they have seen them all now. All of them are corrupt.
Why do you say that?
If the head, which is Lagbaja, is that heavily corrupt with his matters in EFCC, what other thing are you talking about? They don't have credibility. That's why nobody wants to respect them.
But ministers should be held responsible and accountable to the people.
Whenever there is a financial infraction, please take it to EFCC. Take it to EFCC. These people don't even have the power to prosecute. The National Assembly they can only investigate. They can't prosecute anybody. That's what we are saying here. This is not the first time, second time, or third time we are saying this. They can only investigate. At the end of the day, what will happen? Nothing. Take it to the agency that can investigate and prosecute. That is where it will have effect. So all these things that now that they have done that, what will happen? Can they arrest them?
They are recalling them back. They've given them an ultimatum to appear before them. Yes.
Are you serious?
So let's hope there will be direct consequences.
Nothing will come out. They cannot arrest.
$2 billion is a lot of money.
They cannot arrest a Tinubu's minister. As long as the president have not given them, they won't even bother. They won't bother. That is the lawlessness we have here. At the highest level of government, state officials disobeying a simple invitation. Because of what? By the way, if all the people are indicted, will he indict Bagudu, who is a Tinubu's right-hand man, right from Nadeko days? Right from Nadeko days.
What happened in Nadeko?
He was working with Tinubu. Bagudu was
a member of Nadeko.
So, yes, he was working with him. That's the connection.
So you think that's how their relationship?
Exactly. So for him to have cleaned that position is not a fluke. It's not a fluke.
And you think the president will not support the investigation? You think so?
He will not. What will he do? If he wanted, he would have asked EFCC to even arrest them. EFCC would have moved in to pick them up now. That's how to be sure that you are serious. One of us wanted to deal with IGP, Tafa Balogun. Did he tell him, my brother, come, I have something to talk to you? He sent Rubadu to go and disgrace him in court. What are you telling me? So Tinubu is not fighting any corruption. $2 billion misuse.
$2 billion.
Misuse, just like that. This is the one that we just
and we are fighting, our power sector is in comatose.
We can imagine. Word. So, you see, whenever I hear this light at the end of the tunnel, it irritates me. It annoys because the man saying he knows that he's not saying the truth. At least if you want to show us that there will be light at the end, we need to see the tunnel before you start talking of the light. There's no tunnel. Every time there will be light at the end of the tunnel. There will be light at the end. Where is the tunnel? So he's not fighting anything. All this reform, he's reforming his pockets. The funds are there. So. The funds are there.
That's your opinion.
It's not it's my opinion. No. And in fact, the evidence is coming out. The evidence is coming out because I am still wondering why the National Assembly have not investigated Owando. Owando, that we are hearing that all of a sudden their assets have moved to 29 trillion.
Yes.
Owando, and they made a profit of 60 billion. What kind of, are they minting money there?
This year.
Are they minting money? How did they become so rich all of a sudden? How did they swallow NNPC?
Barrister, what is President's relationship with Owando?
The nephew is the person in charge. Tinubu's nephew. Unless somebody,
of Owando.
Yes, he's the managing director. He's the one running the company. Unless somebody come and tell me now that because it is Tinubu's nephew, therefore he has nothing to do with that company. Let somebody come here, let's debate it.
Well, I wish we'll be able to talk more about this.
Yes.
Let's jump into
How did that small company swallow an NPC? It's a very big question that Nigerians have not answered. How? Where did they get the money?
Well, I wish the Minister of Petroleum, who is the president also, by the way, I wish we'll be able to hear something out of that. But let's move over to the Chief of Army Staff, Barrister Darlington. A lot of Nigerians are saying, you remember there was this rumor 2 weeks ago that he was dead, abroad. And the Army Defense Headquarters, countered that rumor and said it was false. But finally today, the Chief of Army Staff is dead. He was aged just 56 years. What do you think? We'll have a new acting
that is what happened
from the Southwest.
When this thing broke and everyone was denying it from right, left, and I said, look, don't bother your head. Any pregnant woman, you can only hide it for 1 or 2 months. By the 6 months, we will know that you are pregnant. You can't hide it. So now that the truth has come out, what are they going to say? You see, that is one of the embarrassing things about African leaders. Third world, I don't know what you are hiding. Do you know that if they had told us that this man is sick or that we should pray for him, or maybe this vigil they are talking about now, we would have gone on vigil for him now.
The vigil that the NSA and the First Lady
would have gone on, yes, pray for the man to get well. But they were hiding it. That's why nobody prayed for him. And
maybe
look
he
at
wasn't sick then. Who knows? He said it was just after a brief illness.
No, please.
It's not ascertained yet. We don't know what happened.
Remember, they said he was on holidays.
Yes.
Then later, he went for checkup. How many times now? Then later, he was being treated for minor ill health. Nobody came out to tell us that this man is seriously sick. Maybe parents would have helped, promise. Don't you think so?
You remember when this, there was a whistleblower who talked about this on X, formerly Twitter, and the person, I think James, his name now, Johnson something spoke about it, Johnson O'Day. He said he even challenged, challenged him with a 10 seconds video to prove that he was alive. He challenged him so much, with so much impunity. So people are saying it's looking like Johnson is finally right, by the way. And plus the, retirement of about 15 army heads before we got, army brigadiers before we got to the new lieutenant general, who was even just appointed a lieutenant general. Yesterday, he was promoted to a lieutenant general. That's the acting chief of army staff now, who is also from the Southwest.
Now, whenever government tells me anything, especially this APC government, my dear, I will take it with a pinch of salt. Never will I say, oh, government has said it, I will not go to town. No, I will be cautious. I will wait until the truth to come out. I don't know why they have, in fact, they have dwelt so much on telling lies and propaganda. Government have never, I don't know what they benefit from telling the people lies. I just don't know. It's so baffling. At least when you tell the people the truth, it will guide them in how to talk, how to relate with you, how to address the issue, so that there will be no speculation or conspiracy theory. But you give room for all this, and later you come and tell us, stop the marketing Nigeria. Stop talking ill of your country. Stop abusing the government.
Sultan said that the other day, Sultan of Sokoto, that people need, but that's being patriotic to say positive things about your country.
Not in this context, please. Not in this context, please. Not in this context. Look, that is for everybody. Don't make it look as if it's one kind of thing or something. Okay, at the end of the day, what happened now?
So, Barrister, let's even, a lot of Nigerians are curious. Do you think this is the reason why 15 generals were retired for just a Southwesterner to come up again as an acting chief of army staff? Yeah. So what is it with a lot of presidents? We remember we'll say President Goodluck Jonathan did it with Ihejirika and Minima. You understand? President Buhari did it with Buratai, retiring a lot of army heads. What is it with army chiefs coming from your region?
Now, it is the way they have destroyed the Nigerian society, the Nigerian nation. That's why people will come out and tell you that we don't have a nation yet. Because tribalism, religious sentiment, ethnic sentiment have taken over Nigeria. Everything that is being done in government today is all about sentiments, not for the national interest. I'm telling you, Jonathan even tried. He tried. what Buhari and Tinubu have done so far in office, if PDP have done that, maybe there wouldn't have been APC now. There wouldn't have been APC. I'm telling you, everything is about. At a point, some Yoruba group will call the Tinubu that, look, this thing you are doing is not good, though. How can you appoint all the Southwesterners into offices and not? They complain to you.
But former President Muhammadu Buhari did it. He didn't start from this president.
Hold on.
A lot of Southwesterners was like, they are saying if Buhari can do it, Tinubu can also do it.
So where does that leave Nigeria? Promise.
Sir?
Where does that leave? The offices, is it their personal office or they are serving Nigeria? Are they serving Yoruba or are they serving the North? Is it not Nigeria they are serving? You can see now. You can see that the very people who claim to be patriotic, the very person who are telling you to love one another, they are the ones dividing Nigeria. You can see double standard. Tomorrow night, Tinubu will come and tell us, I mean, yes, yes, why are you doing this? Why did you choose this? He has forgotten what he's doing in office now. He has forgotten. Let somebody try it tomorrow. He will be the one to campaign against it. That's why Nigerians are no longer united. It has been so bad under these two presidents, Buhari and Tinubu. They have divided this country in such a manner that even friends are no longer friends. All because of what? Politics.
Barrister, let's move away. I wish we'll have more time, but we'll have to move away now to our national grid. The TCN announced yesterday it collapsed the 10th time, and that's like 4 times in 1 month. Barrister Darlington, what is going on in our power sector, and why is the power minister not held accountable when they were trying to reshuffle cabinet? Why do you think the power minister wasn't at least able to come up and answer some questions in the power sector?
This thing is beginning to look like sabotage.
You think so?
Not I think so. It is very...
From whom?
From those who don't like Tinubu or those he has offended. I will appeal to him to go and beg them, because he should know where this problem is coming from. This is pure sabotage. I was thinking that by now somebody will tell us that bandits have blown up one high tension, or that one python swallowed the whole wire. But up till now, nobody has told us what happened. You mean the thing just collapsed? The people that are doing it, they don't know what they are doing. And we cannot get technical help from abroad to come and help us mount it, Abi. My dear, sabotage is going on. Pure ED. Right. So, and the Tinubu and his officials cannot claim that they don't know what is going on.
So we'll keep, I wonder if we'll keep, I hope there will be some solutions out there. But before we round off the analysis, let's touch on the End Bad Governance, the minors that was released by the president. And Shettima has urged, the minors to embrace positive change. Barrister Darlington, in 30 seconds, just let's have your take on the...
There will never be positive change in the life of those. If they are going back to hunger and hardship, how can they change? It's not possible. If those children are going back to hunger... They
said the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, according to the Minister of Information yesterday, that the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs are going to map out ways and strategies, to help them.
Okay.
Yes.
No, so those minors now, they are the only minors in the north who need help, Abi.
No, they were arrested.
So hold on. If you are not taking care of these people, just be sure that another 1 million are standing by, waiting to do worse than these people. So you will continue to rehabilitate them since you don't know what to do. They will rehabilitate more people. Because what made those people to do what they did is still there. It's still there. Nobody have addressed it. So I am very sure that in future there will be more minors to be arrested, because hunger does not know territory. It doesn't.
There was even a protest, at the National Assembly, like we said. People are asking for the, removal of MD of the NNPC.
Oh. So, in a second, please. Did you see how peaceful that protest went? Did the police arrest or shoot anybody? But you see how they went and they presented their protest and left. But if police have come to do what they normally do, what do you think would have happened by now? Then you now said you arrested them, because I have said it is the society that prepares crime, then the criminal commits it. If you allow them, they will do things the normal way. It is you who went to go and bring violence into protest, and you look for somebody to blame.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister Darlington, for your analysis and opinion. Welcome back, and this is still the Media News on Voice of the People TV. And now to business stories. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has called on Pinnacle Oil and Gas Limited and other oil marketers not to use the derogation of Nigeria's downstream oil sector as an excuse to import substandard petroleum products or undermine national interests. This response came after the Pinnacle CEO, Robert Dickerman, defended the importation and blending of petroleum products under the guise of a deregulated market. The Dangote refinery expressed concerns over Pinnacle's establishment of a blending plant near its Lagos facility, accusing the company of planning to sell substandard products. While Dickerman denied these claims, Dangote emphasized that deregulation must not compromise the integrity of the energy sector or the welfare of Nigerians. The refinery reiterated its support for deregulation and industrialization, but stressed that this must align with the country's sustainable economic growth and the petroleum production of citizens from exploitation. It further highlighted that deregulation should not be a license for harmful practices running against importation and distribution of spec products. The human rights organization, the Anti-Corruption and Integrity Forum, and the International Human Rights Commission have condemned the arrest and detention of former Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa by the EFCC. They described the arrest over alleged misuse of 1.3 trillion naira as political persecution. Dr. Okowa was arrested on Monday, with the EFCC accusing him of embezzling Delta State funds. Joseph Pokbogri, chairman of the Anti-Corruption and Integrity Forum, called for Okowa's release on self-recognition, questioning the EFCC's method. The group threatened to protest at the EFCC's Port Harcourt office if the allegations are not substantiated. And now moving on to politics. Few days before the governorship election in Ondo State, the governor and candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, promised to rule the state with fear of God if elected. He made this known during the meeting with Christian leaders in Ondo State at St. David's Anglican Cathedral, Ijomu, Akure, on Monday. Mr. Aiyedatiwa's chief press secretary, Mr. Ebenezer Adeniyon, on Tuesday noted that he called on the Christian leaders across the state to pray for the states, particularly for the elections. However, the chairman of the state chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Father Anselm Olugunwa, in response praised the governor's prompt attention to issues concerning the Christian community. He, however, noted that CAN remained non-partisan with primary mission to uphold Christian values, but said that his leadership is indeed commendable, adding that the body needs a government that actively advocates for peace and harmony. And moving on to Ekiti State, where the governor, Abiodun Oyebanji, has appointed Justice Lekon Ogumoye as acting chief judge of the state. This was disclosed in a statement made available by the special advisor to the governor on media, Olayinka Oyebode, Tuesday night in Ado-Ekiti. Oyebode stated that the acting chief judge, Justice Lekon Ogumoye, replaced the former chief judge, Honorable Justice Oyewole Adeyeye, who passed away on Monday. In furtherance of the powers conferred on the governor by Section 274, Subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, noted that the new appointment takes effect from yesterday, Tuesday, the November 5th, 2024. However, before Ogumoye, who was born on November 6, 1963, new appointments, he was called to the Nigerian bar in 1987 and was made a Nigerian judge on April 1, 2010. You may recall that the Chief Registrar of the Ekiti State Judiciary, Olanike Adegoke, confirmed the demise of former Chief Judge Honorable Justice Oyewole Adeyeye on Tuesday. And over to Abia State, where the governor, Alex Oti, has accused opposition members of convening in Abuja and other locations to mislead the people of Abia through a misinformation campaign targeting his administration. Speaking at a swearing-in ceremony in Umuahia, Oti expressed concern over what he described as a deliberate strategy by opposing figures. During the event where he is inaugurated, the chairman and deputy chairman of the state's 17 local government areas, along with elected councillors, Oti highlighted the challenges his administration faces due to these alleged misinformation efforts. He emphasized the need for accurate information to ensure the people of Abia are well informed and about the government initiative and progress. Governor Oti's remarks comes amid ongoing political tensions and highlight the importance of transparency and accountability in governance. The governor called for unity and cooperation to address the state's challenges and improve the welfare of its citizens. You're still watching the media news on Voice of the People TV. Coming up is business and sports stories after this break. Stay tuned. And now to business stories. Nigeria's paid down a substantial 4.05 trillion in personal loans between the first and second quarter of 2024, and that's in Naira, as reported by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The CBN's economic report of second quarter 2024 reveals that personal loan balances fell from 7.52 trillion naira to 3.47 trillion naira, reflecting a 53.9% drop in outstanding debt. This sharp reduction suggests that many Nigerians are repaying loans in response to elevated interest rates tied to the CBN's aggressive rate hikes. The overall drop in consumer credit by 42.6% to 4.73 trillion underscores a significant repayment trend. Personal loans represent the majority of consumer credit at 73.35%, with retail loans rising to 1.26 trillion naira, indicating increased borrowing among small businesses trying to navigate rising costs. The CBN's repeated rate hikes reacting a peak of 27.25% in September 2024 are part of its strategy to curb inflation. High borrowing costs are straining households and businesses alike. The latest CBN survey showed that over 71% of Nigerians support a reduction in rates to ease these pressures. CBN Governor Yemi Cardoso acknowledged the burden of high rates, but emphasized their necessity in addressing inflation. Still in business, Nigerian startups collectively raised $250 million in October 2024, with Nigerian fintech Moneypoint leading the way through a substantial $110 million Series C funding round. This raise accounted for 43% of the month's total funding, marking October as the second best month for startup investment this year, just behind July, according to Africa's Big Deal. Nigeria attracted the majority of the funds at 60%, cementing its role as a leading destination for African startup investments. Fintech startups dominated, receiving 60% of total investment, while other sectors like the retail and cryptocurrency also secured significant funding. However, a notable gap in gender diversity was observed, with 98% of funds going to male startups. Year to date, African startups have raised $1.7 billion, a 32% decrease from the same period in 2023. Now, despite these gains, Nigeria faces competitive pressures as Kenya led with $800 million in startup funding last year, while Nigeria lagged at $410 million. And moving on to sports stories, the home-based Super Eagles have entered the second phase of their training camp in Abuja, gearing up for their crucial 2025 African Nations Championship qualifier against Ghana's Black Galaxies. On Tuesday, 26 players reported for duty, with an additional 9 set to join the squad today. While head coach Austin Iguavon is away for a medical checkup, assistant Daniel Ogumodede and Fidelis Ikechukwu are leading the sessions. The Eagles have been honing their skills since last week in preparation for the two-leg encounter with their long-time rivals, with the aggregate winner securing a spot in the upcoming CHAN tournament set to be hosted by Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania co-hosting. And still in sports, the Super Falcons of Nigeria are set to face off against the French national women's team, Les Bleus, in a prestigious friendly match on Saturday, November 30th, 2024, in Angers. This follows a successful two-match series against Algeria's Green Ladies, where the Falcons secured victories of 2-0 and 4-1. The upcoming clash of Stade Raymond Kopa will kick off at 9:30 p.m. local time and serve as a key preparation for both teams, while France views the game as part of their lead up to the League of Nations and the UEFA Euro Women's Championship. Nigeria aims to utilize this opportunity for squad development ahead of the 2025 Women's African Cup of Nations, Morocco, next summer. This match will mark only the 7th occasion that the Les Bleus complete in Angers, adding to the significance of the encounter. And that's it on the midday news. But before we go, a quick look at the headlines again. World leaders congratulate Donald Trump of the Republican Party as he claims surprising victory in the U.S. presidential polls. The House of Representatives investigates 3 ministers over the utilization of $2 billion in renewable energy funds. And President Tinubu announces the passing of Lieutenant General Taoreed Abiodun Lagbaja, the Chief of Army Staff, at age 56. A large crowd of activists demonstrates in Abuja, demands total reforms in Nigeria's oil sector. And in business, Nigeria's pays off 4.05 trillion naira personal loans in the first and second quarters of 2024, as reported by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. And that's it on the media news on Voice of the People TV. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. I am Promise. Hey, good afternoon.